And he can rise to his feet if I am misquoting him. He said to the media, and it was broadcast to the world, that the young university graduates, if they can't find work here, let them go. Let them go and look for work in St. Vincent, Dominica, or Belize. You can get vexed, Honorable Member for St. Thomas, but look, Your Honor, he said that. This is a gentleman, and I insist that he's a gentleman. So.
The honorable member is misleading the chamber. If the honorable, sorry, that's the point of order. If the honorable member wishes to quote me, let him quote. I'm not going to give him my words. Let him quote me exactly. I assure you, that was not what I said.
Okay.
Barbados probably has the most educated workforce in the entire Caribbean. We probably do. We probably do. You could put a Bajan to handle most anything, right? Because we have a basic standard of education. Why are we so afraid to take that somewhere else? You can't find a job here. You got your degree, and people saying that they come out through you when they got degrees and they can't find a job. Okay, if you can't find a job in Barbados because that level is saturated, go to St. Vincent, go to Dominica, go to Belize, where there might be opportunities you do not even contemplate.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Good evening, welcome to DLP TV, our Thursday edition. We're in the month of October. What's today's date, Director? October the 16th, 15th? 16th. 16th is going to be a good Thursday. The video you saw reflects the state of government in Barbados. But tonight we're not going to deal broadly with the state of government in Barbados. Tonight we're going to look at the state of public health in Barbados. We've assembled a most distinguished team to discuss this topic. We apologize that it's all male. We were supposed to have our great doctor in the house with us, Dr. Elvis Wickham, but Dr. Wickham had some other engagements. He's a man of many parts, as you know. But tonight, we're going to do well. We can't offer medical opinions, let me say that up front. We can't offer medical opinions, although we have with us a doctor, but I'm going to come to him last. To my immediate right is David Worrell. He is our standard bearer in St. George North, and very well from what we understand. He doesn't move without his manager. His manager is a young lady who I'm told is his daughter. So that's the charming side of Dr. Walrond, David Worrell. Welcome, David.
Good night, everyone. I'm happy to be here.
We move from St. George to St. Michael in the person of Senator Andrew Worrell. St. Michael Central, our standard bearer for St. Michael Central. I heard you had a good time in the Senate yesterday. A great time as usual. Thanks for carrying the party's interest in the Senate. Welcome, Senator Andrew Worrell.
Yes, good evening to the DLP family, and I am happy to be here. And yes, we did have a good time in the Senate yesterday.
Lovely. The person that comes closest to health expertise. We had a great time on Sunday night in Redmond's Village. We had a meeting in Redmond's Village. He was firing on all, how many cylinders, Paul Gibson? Two. Welcome. And you're going to be our medical man today. You're sitting in as medical man. Paul is a pharmacist, former sales,
Marketing.
Pharmaceuticals. So you're the closest we come to a medical man here today.
Thank you.
Welcome. Next to you is carrying the title of medical man, but his doctorate is in sociology, Dr. Derek Alleyne. Always a pleasure. The public loves to hear you, the voice of experience on this panel.
Thanks very much, and I want to tell people, please stop calling me Don. I didn't call you to get very hurt. I can't.
That's not so. Right. All right. We want to look at the history of the Democratic Labour Party's program of public health. As you know, gentlemen, the Democratic Labour Party has been and continues to be a party that carries the philosophy of social democracy, mixed economy, in which you encourage private sector growth, and there's also government involvement. And one of the major involvements of the government always has been, health and education have been the two twins of government involvement in the economy, the delivery of health and education. it's really what has built this country, because unless the government had invested in health and education, but tonight we're focusing on health. Unless the government had invested in health, this country would not be where it is supposed to be. Let me say it's supposed to be. I say it's supposed to be because we're not doing well. I spoke to a young lady on Sunday night who is a nurse. I'm not going to call her name, but we are not doing well. Who is going to take this person, the historian amongst the sociologists, the history of the DLP's program of public health? People normally point at the QEH and come down. Where are you going to take us now?
I think we got to go back to the really public health inspectors.
Public health inspectors, yes.
I don't know if you.
The chap that used to walk around the yodel.
Correct. And I'm
And
saying,
he would dip it into the drum.
right, and then
The RV.
right, yes.
Start us there.
What I'm saying is that, as a boy growing up, you, people my age group, often our families get livestock.
Yes.
Pigs, sheep, goats. My family had rabbits.
Mhm.
And my mother had a pond, a little square pond in the yard for the ducks.
Yes.
And,
Yes. We had one too.
Right. And the
I thought things as if we grew up in the same house, you know.
Probably same time, same time.
Yeah.
And the public health inspector would come around and you would hear the neighbor say, the inspector in the district.
Or people used to get scared.
Yeah, inspecting the district.
Why people got scared?
No, because it was building a consciousness of cleanliness,
I
Health.
see.
orderliness,
Yes.
and to get rid of mosquitoes.
And he was a respected figure.
Right.
When he was walking coming down the road, everybody running in to put things right. Paul, you know about this, or you too young?
I'm too young for that, but I heard stories.
Let's go back to the dots, man. Public health.
And I read the test for us was that pond. My mother said, "Papa, we had to get that all the more." So
That was in the corner of the area?
ours was in the middle,
Middle. Okay, ours was in the corner.
and we had to make sure there's no moth in it.
What? Really?
Yeah, scrub it out, clean it out. Because you bring water, put in it, the ducks to go on, chickens to go on.
Senator Worrell, you don't know about this, do you?
Not necessarily the duck pond, but I would know of you kept livestock in your yard and stuff like that, and then you would probably have water running into the yard from the kitchen and other areas as well.
We're not poking fun at the country boy, but the health inspector used to reach St. John.
Of course, the health inspectors you would be there, and along with the health inspectors, you also had the public health nurses as well.
Oh, good.
Because
You're going to come to them.
they would have worked hand in hand, so that because it was really in terms about identifying disease sources and treating them at the source.
Okay.
So obviously the public health inspectors would identify the vector of the disease, the rodents, the mosquitoes, and then the nurses would be there to offer the medical treatment and also like dressing for persons who had cuts and stuff like that. And midwives, because you have to go to the point that not many persons had their child in the hospital. You had a midwife that would come around and deliver the baby within the home setting as well.
I like it that we've started the discussion at the very community level, Derek, and we interrupted you, really, so we come back to you.
Yeah, and there was this general feeling about and being clean.
Yeah.
So to the point that when you went to school, you had to oil your fingers.
Yes. Tell us about that one. Tell us about that one.
You used to check your nails.
No, give us the detail. These are young people here, you know. And Andre doesn't know about that.
You go in, you open your palms.
Yes.
Them.
You're sitting at your desk,
right?
Or the desk, because precisely.
And you hold your hand like that. You check your fingernails.
Yes.
Get a comb, a thing apart through your hair. To make sure your hair comb.
And no
Look
lice.
into your ears.
Lice.
Say, teacher.
So you put your hand out on the thing.
Yes.
But I want you to tell this young man next to me what she had in her hand.
A ruler.
Teacher.
And
Right.
if your hands dirty, 2 lashes by it, go clean them.
Yeah.
Go clean those
But all
fingers.
of it was part of health consciousness,
Right.
starting at a very young age. Health and cleanliness.
Yeah.
In fact, the saying was cleanliness is next to
Godliness.
excellence. Excellent.
And then you too young again. You used to get biscuit.
Yeah, around 10 o'clock in the morning.
So class, infants gotta go first, or the children let rest. Class, Here, go and wash your hands.
Yeah.
Go and wash
Again,
your
the
hands.
emphasis on cleanliness.
So you are socialized into an environment
Yes.
where keeping things clean is part of your existence. From at the school, at home, everything.
That's very
You
interesting.
understand? And you remember coming up and the public health sanitation trucks, they open
Yes.
things.
Yes.
And the men used to come with shovels and dump the thing into the truck. Lorries, they weren't these fancy things, but they used to pull open the man. And 90% of the garbage was things that you couldn't use.
Oh, okay.
Because every milk
That
talk
you absolutely could not
couldn't
use.
use.
There was very little garbage.
Recycling.
Yeah.
We had every
Well, the
village
things
has been
became the thing for your roller.
oh yes,
So tell them about it.
polish things.
Yes.
That's the roller.
Mm-hmm.
The top of the Milo thought if you can get one, because we can't afford the Milo, we got to find the top. That will be steering wheel for the
Yeah.
roller.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the Tin Smith took every empty vessel and made a cup.
Oh.
Yes.
So I not
The Milo thought used to become a cup. So there was a lot of recycling. So you did not have that much garbage as you do now.
no,
It's amazing.
everything had a second or third purpose.
Mhm, mhm.
And I would tell my mother, somebody give my mother a tea sack.
Mhm.
And up to now, it never come in cabinet.
Let's come back. Let's come back to health consciousness, David. You grew up in St. George.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What Derek is saying is familiar to you, or you?
Very familiar. I went to school that was primarily a church school
Mhm.
before the government took
Tell us the
over.
name, please.
St. Augustine's Boys School,
Right.
And,
Next to the church.
right next to the church.
And that famous cricket ground.
Oh yes.
We're not going to the cricket
No,
ground
no,
today.
no. But everything Derek said basically,
Mhm. You're familiar
I
with it?
can identify with.
Yes.
And many of us didn't wear the school shoes.
Mhm, mhm,
We went to school barefooted,
mhm.
and the fingernails clean was a must, and the hair being kept tidy was a must.
Mhm.
And so we had, yes, those practices helped to build a foundation in us. We were able then to, based on that early start and being
Conscious.
health conscious,
Yeah.
that would have started us on a path where we now find it easy to deal with health issues.
Okay. Paul, you, in a sense, you and Andrea are the little brothers on this show. So these old practices may not be as familiar to you. So we'll come to you in terms of the public institutions hospital. In those days, we did not have polyclinics, did we?
We had more.
And more.
And
Yeah,
more.
Tell us about that, please.
Yeah, well, I remember having my being vaccinated
Mm.
at the polyclinic. Is that the Black Rock Polyclinic or Emor? Between those two.
Oh, you're a St. Michael man.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, right next
Oh,
to the psychiatric hospital. But that came later. But my mother would take me, and I remember getting getting stuck.
Yeah, in
with
the
in the shoulder to get the tuberculosis and all these other things.
Yes.
And I'll tell you the truth, the Bantu shot they call it, but that was for me my start in health, because I remember that we had dentists, polyclinics.
Mhm.
We had access to dentists.
Really?
Yes, there were access to nurses,
Mhm.
and the whole thing of giving drops.
They call
polio
it
drops.
polyclinic in those days? I
No,
don't think they did.
No, it was an MOR. They would just call it MOR.
Health center?
Health center.
Health center.
But then when we had the delocalized,
Yes. Decentralized.
decentralized
Yeah.
facilities,
Mhm.
they became poly.
Poly.
Poly meaning many clinics.
Yes.
So you had a maternity clinic, you had dental clinic,
Mhm.
you had a dressing clinic,
Yes.
your eyes and all these different things.
This system
Yes.
worked, Paul? You found that it worked?
Oh, absolutely.
Work for the
As a matter of fact, I don't know what's happening in 2025 versus
Yes.
what happened
What
back
happened
then.
Money used to pass, or it was a free service?
No, I think nurses had a calling.
Yes.
It was called a calling.
No, you did not pay at these health
No.
facilities.
No, it's all free.
Yeah.
Yes, and nurses took on the health of the nation as if everybody was
Yes.
their own.
Yes.
They owned the thing.
in a sense, they mothered the
Their
nation.
mother, they
Yes.
were loved, they were respected.
Yes.
So much so that people may not have had a lot, but they would bring a banana, yam, or whatever to the nurses,
Really.
the pharmacists, the doctors, and so on in the clinics. And
Derek will tell you a society that showed love.
yes,
Yes,
sorry,
yes,
I
yes,
agree.
yes.
I totally agree,
Sorry.
Derek. No, you're right. I think people were loving
Mhm.
and caring for people meant something.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I remember a nurse was honored and revered, and respected. You would never speak down to a nurse or
Right.
disrespect a nurse or
They
a
were
doctor
respected.
or
revered,
pharmacist.
and
Yeah, they're
respected.
decent people.
Mhm.
And as the society advanced,
Yes.
they became more qualified, more professional.
Mhm.
You had more people coming in from overseas, the midwives and so on. And Barbados's death rate was very, very, very low back in those days. Dressings. I mean, no, the thing about things at the polyclinics,
Mhm.
they would do more amputations, take the legs off, because surgeons were big things back then.
Yes.
When you had some issues, they would remove part of your stomach.
Really.
But as technology advanced,
Yeah. Medical
right,
science.
you had your proton pump inhibitors, beta blockers,
Mhm.
surgeons, antibiotics,
Yes.
which were able to grapple with a lot of the infections that were very common back in the day.
I see.
And so a lot of proper surgical techniques allowed people to heal properly
I
and these
see.
types of things. So it was a different era. I'm not sure where we are now, but
No,
it was
but
a
you've
different time.
raised my curiosity about. I want you to tell the young people in Barbados.
Yes.
Because we have young viewers too,
Yes.
about this midwifery business.
Right.
Because I don't think they would quite
Quite
understand.
understand it. Yeah.
Yeah,
There was a
a baby
time
was people were born at home.
people were born
But tell
at
us about
home.
that.
Yes.
You're
yes.
born at home, David. Yeah.
No, I was born at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital.
But tell us about
yeah.
this midwifery in the community.
Yeah, this was a normal thing. You had district nurses,
Mhm.
and people knew who they were,
Yeah.
and they would follow the maternity journey with that mother all the way through. So
They would monitor the pregnant ladies in the village.
the monitor the pregnant ladies in the village,
Mhm.
look at things like diet,
Yes.
making sure that they were eating properly, they were walking, getting sunlight, and they would advise them as to the different
During the
feeding-
pregnancy.
During the
later-
pregnancy.
latter stages of the
with
pregnancy.
the aim of making sure that by month 9,
Uh-huh.
that mother was probably in the best possible shape to give birth to that child.
So the community looked after the mother.
Yes, the
pregnant-
community
That's-
looked after the mother back in those days.
yeah.
And it was a beautiful thing. Everybody and back in those days, the birth rate was very high.
Very high. Oh
yes, you would have a family with 10 and
When I
12.
told the chap today, he told me, there were 6 of us.
Yeah.
Eric, I told him small
That was
family.
small family. My grandfather had 14 children.
14 children.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they were all from my grandmother, and they were all born at home, pretty much.
At home?
Yes.
Yes, midwifery. So if a lady, she goes into labor,
Yes.
what happens? They send for the nurse? What
They would send for the nurse, and they would boil water. They would have clean sheets and so on
Yes.
to make sure that the
Health again.
sterile,
Yes.
again, very healthy. They would wash their hands,
Yes.
have sterile sterile techniques.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they would deliver that child and cut the umbilical cord
Yes.
and bring that child into life and something they did a lot was they were into breastfeeding in a big way,
Oh,
because
the midwives used to breastfeed as well.
they would make sure that the mother was able to, the child was able to latch properly. Latch,
What
which
is
is so attachment to the breast so that they can get
I
a
see.
proper flow of breast milk and so on. Because back in those days, I mean, there was a catch-22. There wasn't a lot of money available.
Yes.
So
But there was a lot of love.
there was a lot of love.
Yes.
So, but they were interested in making sure that children could feed and breastfeed. And
So
yeah.
there were instances in which a child was born at home
Mhm.
and never went into the hospital.
Don,
Never.
my brother, Don had never been to the hospital.
Don never went in.
Don was born at home.
Born at home and
Yeah.
grew up.
He never went to the hospital.
And a midwife looked after this entire process.
Yes.
And what I always remember is that when it happened early in the morning, and they sent him all the way. Oh, yo.
Yeah. That'd be rude.
Go play.
Yeah.
Normally 6 o'clock you can, all of a sudden this morning, outside.
No.
And this lady came in,
Uh-huh.
and then we hear the baby.
You hear the baby cry.
And only 6 or 7.
Yes, yes.
Only 6 or 7.
You at that age, you had a sense as to what was happening.
No,
But you saw your mom.
Yeah.
She was pregnant. You knew something was going on there.
Right, but yeah, you do.
It is root act. Yes.
So we go on and stand outside, and then we come and hear this baby and dawn born.
Uh-huh.
I'm
A baby is inside there.
Where she come from? She would have been, she born 58 and dawn born 61. So
Oh, lovely.
56, yeah.
Lovely.
And it was like that, you know, and Miss next door and Miss Barbados, same process. You know,
So every neighborhood had a midwife or
yes,
they would,
yes.
or they would go from different communities.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
No, they would give us the country experience. Well, they would probably go from different communities, and some of those persons may not necessarily have been trained right through as nurses, but they definitely knew what they were supposed to do. I want to break with protocol a little bit to
Not a problem.
someone who would probably know a lot about this and be able to contribute to this history exercise. I would wish to say happy birthday to a lady from Longsford Road, Waterford, who is celebrating her 104th birthday today.
From her representative.
Yes, so that's from the constitution. The DLP St. Michael's Branch, 104 years old. Celestine Edie from Longford Road, Waterford. So happy birthday, enjoy your day, and I'm certain that you will be delighted for the opportunity to contribute to this back in time conversation, because you would know more about it than any of us here.
That's right.
So happy birthday, Miss Edie.
Happy birthday from the entire panel and the Democratic Labour Party.
Of course.
Yes. This area of midwifery, and we heard the urban experience.
But it also did, because don't forget, there were not many doctors around for them to see.
Right.
So the midwife provided that expertise that the doctor would provide. And they still have midwives today.
They do?
Operating within the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. That's one of the higher levels of training for nurses. So I think that you have to go through that process to gain certain qualifications as a nurse. So you still have nurses here in Barbados who actually deliver babies, right? And not only that, at the hospital, right? And they look after the care too. That's a specialty,
Okay.
right? And they look after the care too for those infants when they come into the for immunization. To make sure the birth vaccination, to make sure the birth weight and everything is correct. You weigh them, you measure them, all of those things, right? So, and you would teach the parents how to look out for some of those things. And obviously you would have to give some instruction in terms of nutrition as well. Was the appropriate food, or how to blend food for the babies, and those kind of things. So the proper way to hold a child. And all of those things the midwife would do. Back in those days, you had more nurses going into the community, so that because diabetes was pretty rampant at that stage, and as Paul would have mentioned, you had a lot of amputations. So all of those amputated limbs had to be dressed. So the nurses would go and do the dressings for those. Those kind of things.
Yes. David, you know of the concept of midwifery, the community nurse who went and delivered children?
Yeah, I but don't have a past experience of that, but I've heard the stories. I heard the stories in regards to the midwife. I think remember I was born at home, so
your home birth as well.
Yeah, it was home birth. So
in St. George.
In St. George, yeah.
St. George.
Yeah. We had our midwives. Actually, as Andre just said, there were persons within the community who were not trained in nursing, but they understood the concepts. They understood the techniques. So they were the trusted ones. They were the ones that would have been expected to step up at that point in time and assist.
Yes.
And they did a good job. Look at me, I'm here.
18 years later, right?
18 years later.
All right. Let us go modern then. The polyclinics.
Again, before we do.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to make a general point to that. The consciousness of health.
Yes, Derek.
And I remember I come from a family that have had a long attachment in psychiatric hospital.
You want to clarify that?
Not that we were patients. Not that we were patients. But I'm a master.
Okay.
And Clyde's mother, Clyde's father,
Yes.
Clay's brother, all were at psychiatric hospital. So we had a connection.
So where was Colvin and all this?
You know, Colvin should have been a patient. but the point making, even the whole idea of psychiatric nursing, everybody did a madman.
Well, that's the dark side of health.
I just bring in that.
Of
I don't want to
healthcare.
leave tonight.
Yeah, that's a
Unless we touch that.
Discussing
And in a very compassionate way too.
Right.
Because there you may wish to make the point as to how mental health was treated back then.
Bad stigma.
Bad stigma.
Yes.
Paul, I see you responding.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, I'm glad you made that point because we were from the Black Rock area, many of us, and can anything good come with the Black Rock? Many good things come with the Black Rock, of course. And I remember because I attended Deacon's Primary, and I remember the whole stigma of psychiatric care was in a completely different space.
People whispered about it.
They whispered about it, and it was a very taboo thing.
In
To
fact,
be mad, to be quote unquote mad.
whispered, you know, he's going to come.
He's gonna come. Right? He's gonna come. Right? Here and there. Yeah, you know. Yeah, but you know, not that the nurses and the doctors weren't sensitive to what was happening. It was a societal taboo.
Yes.
But we had persons. I remember my father-in-law, who was a chief nursing officer, the principal nursing officer in the psychiatric hospital, God bless his soul, Worrell Springer. He went to Australia. Government of Barbados. They were so interested in advancing psychiatric care in Barbados that he went to Australia, studied, and came back here and lifted the whole level in terms of techniques and what was practicing in Australia and so on into our psychiatric hospital in Barbados. One of the amazing things about psychiatric care, though, is that we saw the advent of new molecules, new drugs that they were finding to assist.
Yes.
Before, when your dopamine level was out of whack and your serotonin level was out of whack, we're talking about when we were all into school, there was very little that could be done. People would even do shock therapy and dark therapy and all. It was very, very morbid. But with the advent of these molecules, people were able to manage their psychoses, their depression, the manic depression, the schizophrenia.
You know, Paul, it was mental health was treated as a character flaw.
Yes, it was.
As opposed to a condition, an illness.
As a matter of fact, I'm happy you raised that point because one of the things that I would like people to go away with from this program tonight is when you have hypertension, your hormones that manage your pressure goes out of whack.
Okay.
When you have sugar or diabetes, you have your sugar levels.
I've heard that term for years.
Yeah, sugar. Yeah, because we're speaking to the audience here.
Yes.
When your thyroid is acting up, it goes out of whack.
Yes.
When your dopamine level is out of whack, it affects your brain.
Yeah.
When your serotonin levels are out of whack,
so it affects you mentally then?
Yeah, it affects you mentally. So what happens is that the point is that diabetes, hypertension, thyroid, psychoses, and so on are all malfunctioning of hormones and chemicals. But we kind of treat psychosis a little different and treat diabetes a little different.
Yes.
But in 2025, it is all on the same level.
Yes.
We've accepted now that we can tweak and adjust the dosage of different things and bring you back into line. Bring your sugar back into line. Bring your dopamine levels or serotonin levels back into line. Bring your hypertensive levels back into line. And so one of the things that people must be comfortable with is that it's no longer a stigma. That's not how it's seen in 2025.
I wanted to ask Senator Worrell that. Yes, Andre.
Well, I don't actually mind us spending some time discussing mental health now.
Yes.
Because it is something that is often overlooked. So it's good that we deal with this first.
Yes.
And I was actually looking for an article which was in the paper today, because it's not just in terms of
paper.
Yeah, in Barbados today, I think it was yesterday's edition. It's not just mental health that would require psychiatric treatment, but also emotional counseling, right? And that is something that we need to become more open to.
in terms of the need for persons to access counseling.
Yes.
And when I say counseling, you may have a situation that you do not necessarily know how to deal with. Instead of internalizing it and dealing with it yourself.
So you value counseling highly?
Yeah, I do value counseling
Yeah,
highly. I
yes,
think it is something that is needed more within our school system. You need to have more social workers within our school system
Yes.
so that a lot of that anger could be dealt with, the anger management.
Yes.
And the actual article dealt with the economic struggles lead to increase in mental
Yes,
health
yes.
cases.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
I
So
on that.
right. So these are things that you have to pay attention to
Mm-hmm.
because you have people now that are finding it harder to cope,
Yeah.
to make ends meet.
Yeah.
You
Financially, you mean?
financially,
Yes, yeah.
you're running out of money. You have your children to feed. You have to put gas in your car to get work, and you don't have the money.
Yeah.
So
It's a literal headache, Andrew.
it's a little headache. How are
Yeah.
you going to get through? You've already asked all of the persons that you can borrow money from.
Yeah.
The end of the month paycheck is still a week or so away. How are you going to deal with this? And then you also have people who are losing their homes because they can't afford to pay their mortgages. You have people who go through depression.
Yes.
And one of the things that Paul did not mention, simple things as menopause. A woman who's going through early menopause because of the change in the hormonal balance experiences a lot of mood swings, depression, all of those things. And you need to know how to cope with these things. And you also need to be a little bit more sensitive because let's look at it. Okay, we have a number of persons in Barbados who have strokes or illnesses which would cause them to become medically unfit, and then they have to give up their jobs. You know that when you do that for a long period of time, you go without pay, and you don't necessarily get the same level of pay that you were accustomed to. But then you still have in the background all of the financial stresses that you had to deal with, plus your medical health as well. So all of these are things that bear you down. So these are where the church can come in, the family can come in, the community can come in,
Counseling.
a listening ear, support, friends, family, all of those things. And then if it is to that level where they will need expert assistance, well then there are trained counselors that you can make available to.
The system has these counselors, the medical system. Is there access within the medical system to these emotional counselors and so on?
There's not enough.
Not enough.
There's not enough access, and even within
They're available at all?
they're available. They're available. Even within the polyclinic setting.
Right. That's very
For someone who, because what the polyclinic tries to do now is to do outpatient psychiatric clinic. So instead of housing persons within the psychiatric hospital, they live within their communities and they access their treatment and counseling within their communities. But sometimes it's not that easy to get onto those programs because there are not enough, the space and the time that you have to wait. And then there's the cost associated to it because yes, if you can't afford it, you can pay a counselor about $75 or so for a counseling session. But if your issue is financial stress, that may be out of the way for you. But I think that these are things that we need to make more of them available within the public health system. And this is one of the ways that I would imagine that a Democratic Labour Party government would go in terms of freeing up and liberalizing access to counseling services and mental health services so that to take away that stigma that you don't have to go down to the psychiatric hospital to get the treatment. You should be able to access a counselor within the polyclinic, or you have set up trained counselors that you have organizations such as CASA who do it at a different level for drug treatment, right?
They come to the house or you go to the
Verdant House.
Right, you have Vernon House as well. They would normally go, but we need to deal with it at so many different levels because we just talk about these things, but then we are not talking about the impact of drugs on the lives of persons. As someone who did psychology, I remember doing abnormal psychology courses with Dr. Mayhe.
Yes.
And always will speak about schizophrenia and how young people, especially males, are predisposed to psychotic episodes where if they use marijuana too early, because the brain of a young person actually develops at the brain of a young person actually develops at age 25, and until that time you can develop psychotic episode if you use the marijuana because it interferes with that. Right. And there's maybe I shouldn't speak about it because there's an actual case that is going on. So I probably shouldn't speak about it. But all of these are things that do happen. And then there is the mental health. Barbados now has a new 24-hour mental health hotline, which is 536-4500. And for anyone that needs
number, please.
536-4500.
536-4500. Thank you.
Right. This was something that was developed because obviously you know that with the persons being laid off and all of the different things that were going on coming out of COVID.
24 hours, Andre?
Yes.
24 hours.
24-hour hotline.
Intervention.
So at 2 o'clock in the morning you can call?
You can pick up the phone and call.
And somebody's there at
Yes, because don't forget that there was a period of time where you were experiencing a number of suicides within Barbados.
That's right. Young suicides too.
And young suicides as well.
Yeah.
So you need to make that sort of service available and more readily available so that you pick it up before it becomes a problem. Because many people can cope with the things because when you are in a problem, you don't see the avenues out. You just see tunnel vision and you just see the problem that you're facing. But if you have the right counselor, you know, they can tell you, well, you know, you can go right to get around that obstacle there, or you can go left to get around it, or you could even step over it if you can reach that. But sometimes because of the forces weighing down on you, you are not able to cope with it and actually do that level of reasoning for yourself.
I want to interrogate this panel on that. 4 of us here canvas. Derek has a life of luxury. He's free of this. And we're out there in the field. We're honest voices for the people. We speak honestly. You're coming across people. Look, sometimes you knock on somebody's house and man, I ain't discussing no politics. All politicians, same thing. Are we meeting people? Let's be honest about this. Is it likely that we are meeting people who are so mentally stressed that sometimes they don't want to talk to politicians? David, you see.
I'm glad we got the stage because as I go around St. George now, the high levels of stress in society, in our community.
Yes.
Issues of unemployment.
Right. That's where we want
that brings out a lot of stress in people when they can't feed their families properly.
And you're encountering this.
I am encountering it on a daily basis. Then there's issues coming out of the pandemic. Then there's socialization. When I say socialization, you have children. And one set of children are stuck to the devices. They're not helping in the home.
We're going to come to those devices.
Another set of children are under the tree.
Yes.
Marinating and using the substances.
Yes.
So it's a concoction. It's a real cacophony. Cacophony.
Yes.
It's a difficult thing out there for families right now.
Yes.
Because we can't forget that when this government came into power in 2018, it was a mass staying home, obviously, to deal with the IMF
requirements.
And thousands were sent home. In some cases, the complete working force of the family gone, and there's stress.
Yes,
this is mental. This is a serious mental situation going on in the house. Because the bills aren't being paid. People are losing properties. There are people that lost cars.
Yes,
I remember being in a location, and I went to park my car, and I saw cars coming in and going into a hoarded area. And I asked the guy, so what's all these cars? So those are cars being repossessed. So these are things that help to bring about stress in families.
Mhm.
The fact that people can't pay the bills, they're losing stuff, they're losing homes, they're losing cars, and all of this will add to mental health issues and mental health difficulties
Yes.
and complications. And there's a lot more. You see, a lot of the this conversation can take us so far because even within the communities, the what do you call them? The places where the young people normally converge.
The blocks.
The blocks. Not only the blocks, but the cricket clubs,
Community centers.
the community centers, right? A lot of the community centers are closed.
Yes. Yes.
And some of them are in disrepair, and they're not being utilized. And so the young people are not being channeled in a direction that can help with stress and good mental health. So we are in a time in the history of this country where mental health will be a problem.
Will be a problem. It will increase.
It will increase because people are under stress.
Paul, you're seeing that stress out there.
Absolutely. In St. James Central, I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt that you go from home to home, and you not only among the young people, we forget that over 60% of Barbadians are over 50 years old. We don't have
Give us those numbers again. Over
60% of Barbadians are over 50.
60.
Over 60%.
Yeah.
And we don't have an aging population. We have an aged population. That will take us the geriatric health, right? Because that will take us into another thing. But I do see it, and what I'm finding now is that there are a lot of older people. I know there are the young people on the blocks and so on, but there are actually older people who really cannot afford their food. They cannot eat, and they don't have anyone to talk to sometimes.
Financial pressure again.
Financial pressure, emotional pressure, somebody to connect with, and this is why I believe that. And I mean, this may sound like a little segue, but the geriatric hospital that was just built.
Yes.
Because we're talking about the young people and the fact that they need to be counseled and so on. But the geriatric hospital that was just built should have been built with more forethought.
Yes.
They are going to lift the persons that are at Beckles Road and lift them and put them in the new facility.
Yes.
That they only have 50 additional beds.
50.
So what they had at Beckles Road.
How many do they have at Beckles Road?
I think it's 200 or something like that.
200.
But so let's suppose it's 250. There are 50 adults whose children have left them at the QEH lying down in the bed.
Really?
Yes. By the time they take the 50 people from the QEH and bring them to the geriatric hospital, along with the people from the other group, we will be out of space at the new geriatric hospital. And it disturbs me so much, Ralph, because you're investing in a new geriatric hospital.
Yes.
Knowing that we don't have an aging population, but an aged population.
Yes.
And in 10 years, you're going to have hundreds of Barbadians becoming geriatrics. Hundreds.
Yes.
And we built an additional 50 rooms. The government needs to be called out on that.
But
It's short-sighted.
You're
Yes.
not
Very
really internalizing what this government is doing. They're killing them.
Oh my God.
Serious. I mean, I should not be saying that. I take medication, and this is now 4 weeks. That medication for people like me with high blood pressure and so on, but not available. At the polyclinics.
That's it. Yeah.
So if you don't find $70 and go to the pharmacy and buy your medication, you do without. Okay. So I'm saying that you may be making space for that, but if you look in the Sanderson, you will see the Sanderson getting fuller and fuller and fuller.
Yeah. Those back pages. Yeah.
Every day it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that
You're not talking about the sports pages.
No, I'm talking about the
obituaries.
The family pages.
Family pages. Oh, that's so sad.
It been worrying me.
Yeah.
It been worrying me. And we were talking about people that live living longer. but I'm saying that those, I mean, people may be more able now to buy space in paper. I don't know, but I know it used to be 4 pages.
But we took pride
Yeah.
in taking care of people that gave the best years of their lives to building this country.
Yes.
We took pride in
Yes.
making sure that they were comfortable, and that the hospital, the QEH, was a place where when an old person come, you say, "Come, granny, come."
Right, right.
Now you seeing old people sitting in the lobbies, and people are saying, "My mother or father is going to the QEH to die." Something needs to happen.
We're going to come to the QH point.
Yeah.
I want to ask Andre about the financial pressures. You're seeing it as well. The financial pressure is contributing to mental health issues
Yes, I am seeing it.
in Barbados. No,
In Barbados,
Barbados,
and you talked about it as you go through the constituency canvassing.
Mhm.
There, one, you're not earning as much, and things are far more expensive.
yes.
So that's an issue. Two, as Derek mentioned, I actually had a conversation with a doctor today. You're seeing a lot of deaths.
A lot of
A
that.
lot of deaths.
Mhm.
Well, you're seeing a lot of deaths, so that is impacting on families because in some cases it is breadwinners who are dying
Mhm.
and then leaving the rest of the family now to cope with it
Yes.
and to struggle and to find a way to make that income which they would have brought in.
Mhm.
Because if you look at it, over the last couple of weeks, you saw a number of persons who died before reaching retirement age
A lot of
and
that.
died suddenly.
Yeah.
A lot of that is happening in Barbados.
Yeah.
And as Paul would have mentioned, this is of general fear among all Barbadians. They don't even though they've been on a waiting list for surgery at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, they don't want the number to get called because a lot of people have been going into hospital for what they consider to be minor surgeries, and they're not making it out.
Andre, are younger people also feeling vulnerable? I can tell you, Derek and I belong to the same generation, and there's a feeling of vulnerability now. I don't know if it's age related. We don't lie about our age. You're a 40s person. There's that feeling of vulnerability in those age groups as well.
Yeah, because as you look at it, you guys were lucky because when you came up, you could have built a house for $80,000.
Yeah.
You can't do that now.
Yeah.
You know,
That is contributing to the
pressure and to the stress as well. And you find that a lot of persons are not even making it into 40 well. They're the ones who are dying as well.
Yeah.
So there's that stress. So a lot of young people, very difficult to cope. And then the younger ones who are now coming out of university or school, job opportunities are difficult. But this is a health program.
Remember the ones who responded to Abrams?
Correct.
That's frustration. I would have hated to have been at university.
Yeah.
And a minister.
Yeah, and then
go somewhere. Look for a job.
exactly. And then they're saying that their opportunities are failing because traditionally we would have gone to the US, which is our first choice in terms of a job, but that is not that welcoming now.
No.
You may still be able to get through in Canada.
Canada has tightened up a bit too.
But they have tightened up a bit, and the UK. So all of these are things. And then in terms
where
of
do you go?
where do you go?
Right? Let's go to Esther Blue. Esther is making an excellent point that loneliness can also breed mental health issues.
Yes.
Any comments, Paul? I can. Oh, Andre, who goes first?
Let me jump in first. This is very
That's an
true.
interesting comment from
And what you would also recognize, do you notice that you don't see that many persons walking on mornings
yes.
because of the crime situation? And that was a way of socializing.
Yes.
You go out in your large groups and you walk, and that was a way of you socializing and stuff like that. And that might be the only person that you see for the day. You can't wait till 4 o'clock the next morning to see them again. And a lot of people are keeping their doors closed.
Yes.
They're keeping their house shut up that you don't even know that they're in there. Because if you're not, they probably would not answer because they're scared, right? And the dynamics have changed as well. Persons not necessarily living in the same household. So yes, loneliness is very much a major part of it, especially for elderly persons.
Andre, you're talking about the people who go walking for exercise.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to introduce you to a different category. You're driving along sometimes and you see two women 70, 75, just standing up, chatting, or just stand up there chatting.
Yes.
They may have gone to the shop, they may have taken a grandchild to school. You seeing that a lot these days?
Well,
2 or 3 women just standing
standing and
outside.
talking.
They deliver the children to school and they're just standing there, and that beats loneliness.
Yes, it
That
does.
Esther's
Or
talking
meet at
about.
the post office.
Post office,
You know,
yes.
Crime is a public health issue in
Yes.
Barbados.
Yes.
Crime is a public health issue.
Mhm.
It's a health. It relates directly to what we're talking about. When someone can come home late or leave early,
Mhm.
or sit and chat with somebody because they're afraid that somebody's going to rob them,
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
that retards socialization.
Yes.
It retards sports.
Yeah.
It retards people willing to go to events.
All
late
social
at night.
interaction.
All social interaction.
Yes.
And I would, this is something as DLP, we are calling on the government to really begin to drill down and even use our crime program presented to them.
Yes. Yes.
If they use that document,
Mhm.
that would help with the healthcare issue
Mhm.
associated with crime,
Yes.
because it would allow Barbadians to live a more open, free
Mhm.
life. And a democracy is about freedom and openness.
Yes, it is
Being
indeed.
able to walk in a park and so on.
Yes.
You
Yes.
shouldn't have to be looking over your shoulder. And unfortunately, because of what Andre mentioned in
Mhm.
terms of the state of the economy,
Yes.
a lot of persons are finding themselves wanting to rob people,
Mhm.
and a lot of people not wanting to come up because they don't want to be robbed.
Right. Right.
And it is something that I believe the government should put the lasers on. It is
Yes.
it is time for that.
Derek, I wanted you to take us though to the old person in the house alone from morning to night, right through to the next morning. We have those in Barbados,
Of course.
don't we?
Of course.
And I know you're going to tell me about the extended family back in the day, and the grandmother is there, and the mother, and the children, and the aunt. And, but we have, that is what Esther is talking about, I think. The person, the old person in the house.
When we have, I think I can call his name. He used to be a cricketer.
Sure, you want to call the name?
He a male nurse, and he's no.
All right, don't call the name.
No, right now,
Don't call it.
80 somebody, and he was living alone. He was a member of the council, Michael West, council and so on. And his son has just come to start to look after him because he was at home.
So you're talking loneliness here,
Loneliness.
and the dread effects of loneliness.
Yeah. And every morning, a couple of us would go and chat, but we got our business to do.
Right, right. So you give him an hour or so.
Yeah, we want to sit down, we talk with him.
How is he coping?
Well, he's just come back out of the hospital. The end of the hospital, he just came back out last week. Because and the major problem was loneliness. The sitting, when somebody's active, being active, playing cricket, up in the youth group, up in bike club.
The NAB program deals with that, Andre. The home help.
Home help, yes.
Because I understand that some of the home help people perform
That service
function,
of
breaking the loneliness.
Yes.
They actually talk. They actually
The good ones, the good ones.
They need training though, and that's an area that the government that is concerned will build on.
Yes.
Because as the age community needs interaction.
Yes.
The thing now, back in the 1980s or 90s, the churches used to have their programs.
Yes.
For the shut-ins.
Where you bring them out and bring them into the church or into the church hall, and then pick them up on evenings and take them back home. So they come and they do crochet, they watch television together, and so on. We gotta get some of this.
Yes. Yeah.
We gotta get them in a hurry, and they're gonna be part of the organized program.
Right. Right.
So that we don't leave the elderly at home by themselves.
David wanted to say something.
This is interesting for me because my mother was part of a group that did at the James Brown complex. They did a program where the more mature sector and a cross section of people from St. George North would go there and they would do craft. They would do craft there. Some days they drop off and they would do crafts, and very often they would have little exhibitions. And sometimes they do like little parties, they eat up something like that. at that place. But for some reason, that class, she used to call it class, that class don't exist anymore. And these are the type of things that, like you said, she also used to do a program at St. Augustine, the old boys school, where we went to school. They used to do craft up there too. But there were a whole set of people, the older people, who were part of the craft class. And I know they used to enjoy those classes. But they used to look forward
We had it done
to
the
those
same
classes.
We done the same thing in the point.
Which center?
Done
Done.
yeah, which did that.
Mhm.
You can go and take in your aunt or your uncle, your elderly relative, and left them in the center,
Yes.
and then go back for them in the evening.
Mhm.
I don't know if it still happens.
What is important to having that socialization is we are in a situation where Alzheimer's is real and dementia is very, very real.
Somebody was
Very
commenting on that.
Right.
That was just Patricia
Well,
Green was talking about.
And when people's brains are firing,
Yes.
they make new paths and new neurons,
Right.
and
right.
that actually stymies the onset of Alzheimer's because there's something called an amyloid plaque that sits on the neurons and kills them.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
the more interaction you have, the more speech you have, learning new languages, playing chess, golfing and playing dominoes and so on with your elderly people.
Yeah, just the pleasures
The
of
pleasures of
interaction.
it. That keeps those neurons firing.
Right.
And it keeps you socialized and aware.
Yes.
And unfortunately, when you sit down and just be
Wait,
aware,
yeah. Yeah.
right? You need to have elderly people interacting with young people.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You need to have them watching
the grandmothers and the little
and the little boys.
The grandmothers love little boys.
They love little boys. And it keeps them alive. So it is a real sociological thing that makes a difference in the minds of our elderly.
Yes.
And
yes.
I think that we have as a government is supposed to structure a society in such a way that these critical things are being taken care
You
of.
look after your elderly.
When you're building a geriatric hospital, it must have walking trails.
Precisely.
Right? You must have somewhere where you can play volleyball.
What about the motorcycle noises on the highway?
Well, that's a whole different thing altogether. Even at night, you're hearing the motorcycles outside like gunshots. And if you have
the backfire,
the backfire, like all those things need to be banned, you know.
Yeah.
But we need at this stage not only to try to, and this is where the paradox comes from what Abraham said about people leaving Barbados. He wants young people to leave, but still they want people to come. I don't know what they want. It's just totally confusing me. But that's all.
And here comes you on the question of loneliness. We want to thank Esther Blue for introducing the question of loneliness. You going there, Andre? You want to discuss that?
Yes, I am, because with the dementia part of it,
Yes.
and there's also I wanted to deal with the fact the caregivers. You have a lot more persons taking care of their elderly parents with dementia. That's something that you have to give it your job for, or if you can't give it your job, majority of these persons would normally end up in homes. Right?
Or with a very expensive nurse coming in.
Or with a very expensive nurse coming in. So you also need to have some ways and means for the caregivers to have some opportunity to cope with that as well. Because that can be depressing for them as well.
Yes.
And they do experience some aspect of burnout and loneliness as well.
Yes.
I want to recall a situation on Brass Stacks where an elderly gentleman had called in because loneliness can cause you to give up on your life. And especially if you're in a situation where you have all of these medications to take, you can want to get to take some of your medication.
Children overseas, grandchildren.
Exactly.
So you're alone.
You're alone. You can forget to take your medication or take too much medication, or in some situations, depending on how you're coping, decide, well, I'm bothering my head to take the medication. And this is where it is always good to have someone to check in.
A good pharmacist.
On person. A good pharmacist, a good doctor, a good nurse.
A good friend.
To check in. And we need, recognizing that we are having an aging population, this is not the time to cut away on these services. This is where you need to empower the National Assistance Board.
Right.
And a lot of these young people who are out there who cannot find job, train them that they can go and provide this service, because you will be helping the community
if you have a cadre of young people, and they will learn something too along the way, who go to a house, tidy up, not just the inside. You have the women who will do the inside, but you can get some young men to come out and tidy up the outside. I'm certain that the elderly person will come out with you, and while you're there, they will be talking with you, and you can learn something. You can have an exchange of ideas. These are things that can be done. And a core of young people, I don't want to talk too many of the DLP manifesto secrets, but this is how you can engage.
Under the youth service did that. Each young person was given a responsibility to do community service.
Youth service?
When you were youth service,
And y'all train them?
Yes, you have to do a community service. Black hair, read to elderly people, go for water for them. Each your trainee was asked to identify a community service he or she is going to give.
And you do that in the key clubs as well.
Right. So I'm saying it doesn't take a genius to create those things. We have 100 and I think they're 8 we call it advanced core people. Train them. Train them. And it becomes part of their community service
Social
exercise. You can go and do homework for the children. So that there's a connection. You can go and play the elderly people's hair, sit down and read to them. You know, you can't do the medical care, but the socialization part is what's missing. And we're going to use those programs to improve the lives of those people in their dying in the elderly years. And there's nothing greater for elderly person than someone young come and says, let's watch the video.
Keep it
My mother is 90, and I sit down and I watch Lucy Ball with
her.
Right? I go and sit down, put on an old cowboy picture with John Wayne, and she's there laughing and enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? And my sister tell me you saying that.
Treasure those moments there.
Precious.
And I do every day. I go and spend the time with my mother.
And I think too that we also need to come to that stage. It is better for a family member to care for an elderly person inside the home instead of you having to pay someone to bring them in for the care. Government needs to accept this position at some point in time that you may need to start programs where you pay family members to care for their elderly persons within the home. They will get better care. There'll be that loving support, and then they'll be in an environment that which they're accustomed to, so that they will feel, the elderly person will feel more comfortable and secure. So that is something that you need to do, because you cannot have people rushing sending their grandparents and stuff like that into the homes and stuff like that. The children don't get a chance to interact with them.
And they feel confused. They get confused.
And the person in the institution.
When you send them from their normal, as you were suggesting, Andre, and I agree. When you're going to send somebody from an environment that they're comfortable in,
they feel abandoned.
They feel abandoned. They say, but where's my toilet? Where's my book? Where's my cane? Where's my hat? They don't. It's a strange environment.
I think they're miserable. But
you think they're miserable, but they're really just they're uncomfortable.
And not only that, but elderly persons are stuck in their ways, so they know that they get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and walk down the corridor, bypass that table to get to the bathroom, and you put them in a home, and they get confused. They don't.
No, they don't.
And I think that you will benefit more by having family members care for them. And if it means that the person has to give up their job to do it, I believe that government should offer them some sort of stipend, because they will still have their children to take care of. They still have their mortgage to pay. They still have children to send to school and stuff like that. And that is what a caring Democratic Labour Party administration, I believe we will do that.
I lived that experience because my mother my mother's 90. My sister moved back from New York because of that. And my sister built her house in St. Philip, and she doesn't even go out there. She's at my mother's house every day. You know what I'm saying? My brother moved back home to ensure that my mother has 100% care every day.
That's beautiful.
I live 150 years. I go there every morning and every evening, so that she is never without warmth and love.
You know, there when Doug died last week, Doug Hoyt, I put a little thing on Facebook and said he took us back. He used to spend an hour in our house, when everybody watched television together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we took that so for granted. Everybody used to watch television together. Whether it's the TV in the dining room or the living room, everybody
7 o'clock.
there. 7 o'clock at night. And we took it.
No.
That's the point. That's the point.
Yeah,
And it was such a pleasurable experience
Mhm.
watching TV. The whole family there watching TV,
Right.
somebody eating their food and it's just watching TV in the 80s and 90s.
Always tells me the joke that his grandmother was watching Barnabas
Collins on Friday night. Dark Shadows.
The whole house full.
House full.
People from next door. In.
And Derek, everybody's scared.
Yeah. And they show you the camera goes over the coffin,
Mhm.
right? And he Collins in there and his man got up and went picture. Obviously, everybody's all crazy. But
Yeah, good laugh.
you see that the whole family.
Yes. Yes.
You know, one of the things I do in my pharmacy practice now is I invite the mature people in the community
Mhm.
to just come by.
At the
Don't-
pharmacy,
Yes, they don't have to bend. Just come and talk.
you're doing a good service.
Yeah,
Paul.
and I remember
So they just come there and talk.
just come because they say, you know, there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
there's some of them that talk about cricket.
Mhm.
Valance Connell would come a man and he would
Yeah.
talk about how he would,
Great.
you know, how you had to come after the six. You can't, you know, Charlie, you know, all these boys, Griffith,
Yeah.
can come up in the high up in the order
Yes. Yeah.
and talk about the football and you know, and then they say, see you later, they're gone. But but what happens is that they have a space where they can come and
Social
talk and
intercourse.
socialize
Yeah.
and
You remember
You know?
complaint on earlier program with the closure of even all post office.
yes.
And that's the precise reason why we complain.
Checks.
Because they had a group of elderly people who said agree
Mhm.
Yes.
to change them checks like
Okay.
Thursday
Thursday.
at 4 o'clock.
Yes.
Yeah.
And get time to socialize.
Yes.
So
Yes.
the post office played a role as well as
Mhm.
getting those elderly people at least to socialize and
Yes.
interact.
Yes.
So we always got to be conscious of when we're making changes.
Yes.
That we look at see what are the effects of
interests.
those
Yeah.
changes.
Yeah.
Governance.
Yeah. Let me do some politicking here. I was in St. John on Saturday.
Mhm.
Charles Griffith.
Mm.
And we had a grand time at the cricket.
Mm.
St. Catherine played St.
Mhm.
John. St. John did better.
Yes.
And I was surprised to hear a resident say something that we as a party have been saying. We've been saying it for a while. He lamented the fence, Andre, that they put around the field.
Mhm.
And you're in the middle of a community. We've said this here before, but we're talking mental health tonight
Yeah.
and social intercourse.
Mm.
And the people can't just walk onto the field. Now, put a bench there, sit down and watch the cricket. You have to come around this barricade.
Mm.
And they've cut off the community.
Wow.
And I think that that's not a good thing.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
It's a message that you're sending. I mean, I couldn't see myself going to think, yeah. And
That's
sitting
the
down
point there.
inside the fence.
Yes. Yeah. It's destroyed the thing.
I am not going back to St. Catherine.
Yeah. And we're still on mental health.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm not going back to St.
and social
And
interaction.
the thing about St. Catherine is someplace you can sit down on the other side of the road too.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You know,
Precisely. But now you feel cut
I'm
off.
taking the
No,
cricket.
but there's a fence there now. There's a
St. John has one too.
Yeah.
St. Catherine has one.
Yes.
Uh,
Hoyts Village has one now
Hutch
too.
Village has one.
Yeah.
And that one
And for the life of me, I don't
is very expensive.
Yeah, there's a lot of money for it.
Very.
Notice that since you have those fences going up, you see less people
Yeah,
using the playing fields.
Yeah, yeah.
So that means that we're going into another area of health, not just mental health, but sports and physical
relationship to
activity
mental
as
health.
well, and its relationship to mental health. And not only that, but diabetes, hypertension,
NCDs.
NCDs, those kind of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So I don't think that this Barbados Labour Party government has dealt with the effect of COVID well. We need to recognize that we have a situation with long-term COVID in Barbados, which is probably resulting in a number of persons needing to seek the services of the accident and emergency.
Yeah.
Right, persons are not getting enough exercise because of the cost of living. Your diet is completely out of whack. Some people don't even cook more than once a week, and then you spend the rest of the time buying food or buying bread or buying unhealthy things to eat. You see the long lines in the place I wouldn't call the name now because it's associated with a negative, but you see the long lines to get into those places.
On Sunday too.
On-
Especially on Sundays, upset me.
Listen, even last week when the rain was pouring, the lines were long with those places. But it just goes to show that our health has deteriorated, not only mental, our physical, nutritional health, emotional health, everything.
Well, Andre, let's talk about that then. Let's talk about food and health and the kinds of foods that are now available to people in Barbados.
Just want to add something, bereavement. So many people are dying. There's a need for more bereavement counseling.
Right. I see.
National Assistance Board used to run a program.
Yes.
I don't know if they still do, and I think it's something that we need to.
Okay.
We need to deal with.
Okay. Let's come to food and health. And you, Derek, will always tell us about the yam and the sweet potato, and the children are not getting that now, are they?
Too expensive generally. The yam is the most expensive thing in the market.
Yeah. So, Andre, or David, you are Andre. What are our people eating?
I will let David go first because you could put the agricultural spin.
Yeah, I need to because this government, Eric says, killing our people. People in Barbados can't eat properly because local food, which is obviously the better food, is more expensive.
Give us the details. When you say they can't eat properly,
Because
when you say properly, what are you recommending for their diet?
I don't want to do the nutritionist thing, but when you look at the cost of local food versus the cost of imported food, you got a situation where
what's the local food? You talk about yam and
we talk carrots, carrots and sweet peppers and beets and things. When you go into the supermarket, the local produce is more expensive than the foreign produce, than the imported. And due to the fact that the imported produce tend to look better, based on reasons that is another program from them. They are better presented, and they
but you can see through the carrots,
and they are not bitten by insects. They're perfect almost. And part of the problem with that is that a lot of these foods are treated with pesticides. That we know nothing about. So it is always more advantageous to eat foods that are locally produced. And our population will always find themselves in a difficult place because it is so expensive to grow food. And a DLP government has to bring life back to agriculture. And I'm going to preach that from now to whenever, because the reality is that I am not comfortable with imported foods. I am not comfortable eating food that. Look, this government has me really, really worried, and we should be worried because our health situation is getting worse every day. This government wants to take sewage water for us to use in agriculture. Now, the reason very often in the States, for example, you will get a recall of food because of exposure to high levels of fecal matter, salmonella, and all this kind of thing. Because they use sewage water for agriculture. So why we see these things happening and we're not learning from them? Why do we want to go in the direction where you can have the treated water go out of balance, and you do a whole field and make a whole community sick or something like that? We were doing very well. We are doing very well with sewage water. But here's the government coming and saying to us, we are going to set up a treatment plant, and the water is going to be used in agriculture. Some is going to go back down to the aquifers, whatever. But the reality is that in my mind, will put our health at risk. That will put our health at risk. And we need to double down as the Democratic Party on providing better sources of water
Mhm.
for the use of our people. Because what this government is doing is setting us up to get sick.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're not interested, they're not taking care of us.
Mhm. Mhm.
They're not taking care of
We're
us.
not
Like
buying our
the-
local food. Yes, I'm
Like the brown water in St. Lucie. I saw something going around today, the St. Lucie brown water, and it's a shame that that is still going on at this time. But I want to read
Yeah,
a
read
comment
Alleyne.
here from
From Alleyne.
Alvin Bob. A DLP must develop policy, and believe me, the DLP government must develop policies that see connection between affordable, healthy food, affordable and quality health, physical fitness, and mental health to reduce our healthcare bill, which is very true.
Yes.
Because I grew up in the country. I am accustomed at one point in time when sweet potatoes were $25 a rod and yams $40 a rod. Call people and tell them from St. Michael, do you want any sweet potatoes or yam? And I would. I'm not digging them, but I will get them for them and carry them. You can't do that now. You hardly get. I don't even know if they still sell yam by the rod. Oh, because in order to get by the rod, you probably got to buy 100 rods in order to get it like that. But like Derek said, the healthy food in Barbados is the most expensive. Breadfruits now are $8 for a breadfruit, and I find that our produce are more nutritious. I prefer to eat papaws, melons.
Papaws around here?
But I should have one when I get home.
Okay.
And sour salt, those kind of things. You should be able to get the papaws. I would really like to see you get them more often. You definitely don't have an issue getting the watermelons, right? But you see the ground provisions, which are the staples that we eat. The sweet potatoes, we should be getting that more readily. I was embarrassed going to New York, and you can get sweet potato for
In New
less
York?
in New York, less than $1 a pound. And you have to come here in Barbados and you buy sweet potatoes for $4 or $5 a pound. These are the things
What's
that
that, Andre? Production is down?
production is the problem.
Yeah,
David could probably tell you more about
Production
that.
is too expensive to produce. Farmers in this country need a break. If you really want agriculture to work, we have to make it profitable. Farmers are not in business
To lose.
for charity. Farmers are in business to help feed the society, but at the same time for profit.
And the cost of living
And-
in Barbados adds to this as well.
Yes, because and not only that, the fact that a lot of the imported stuff, I don't know how they do it, but how can you import stuff here, get it cheaper here, and the local farmers can't match up? They can't because
The Americans subsidize their farming in
okay, then you just brought a solution to why we have problems with agriculture in Barbados.
Not subsidized.
It's not subsidized. We're not doing anything to make agriculture work. No, they're taking a lot of the land out of production. There are a lot of young people who are interested in agriculture, and there's a lot of young persons who would like a 5-year to work. But there's no programs where you can get a broad base.
Lucy land lease thing. What have happened to that?
Well, I'm not sure what's happening to the Lucy land lease. The question is if they're getting the water.
Well,
Yes,
they're trained for that. This is something called the feed program, food empowerment. We discussed this at one of our programs where they trained 1,400 persons in these techniques. And of that, less than 25% have been given land. And of those 25%, half of them have given up because they don't have access to the inputs, and they move water from 66 cents per cubic meter to 188. That's total lunacy. So
the young farmers would be paying.
the young farmers are compromised. So when we talk about, we look at every Barbadian home represented, the small homes in the communities and so on that we canvass, and you walk into those doors, you realize that people really cannot afford food. They really cannot. And the food that they can afford is the ones that they want to put the article labels on, too much salt, too much sugar, but that's all they can afford.
Yeah.
You see a child, you see a child, you talk about biscuits and milk. A child now has a Coke.
Yeah.
Because that's all his mother can afford.
Yeah.
Or they squeeze up the tomato ketchup, lick someone, go to school.
Really? No.
That's all they can afford. That's all they. And when you have 3 and 4 children, the love has to spread.
Yeah.
And going back to the agriculture, you see a staple and things that healthy food that we need to eat. Growing here, Christophine. You hardly get that in Barbados now. You hardly get Christophine, and Christophine should be on every single plate when you cook a meal. String beans. These are the things that we should be eating more often. Cabbage and lettuce, because remember the way how you're supposed to portion your plate, the starch, the protein, the green leafy, the starch, the protein, and the green leafy vegetables. So we're not seeing enough people in Barbados producing things like Christophines, string beans, all of those things that would add to your plate. And those leads to the health issues that we're getting. So what can we do to encourage more people? String bean is a 6-week crop.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
That's not long.
Yeah, a 6 weeks crop. And this is something that I think that you should be encouraging people to grow in boxes around their house. Right? Along with the lettuce and along with the cabbage as well. A cabbage don't sell for less than $9 a head.
That's right.
So you will always make that money for cabbage. Yes.
This may or may not be connected to the topic tonight or public health, but I have a little pet peeve with monkeys. I just want to say, if you have 15,000 monkeys in Barbados and you have 15,000 little people, those 15,000 monkeys will eat. They want to eat. So I'm saying, as part of the solution as well, you have to cut the monkey population. My goodness, cut them in half. They'll grow back. There's nothing. They have no predators that would destroy them apart from us. So if we don't cull them, they will continue to grow and produce and eat the food that some of our poor families need. You know, a sugar apple, a golden apple. You know, you pull up the chives out. You know, monkeys eat everything. So it may seem like a little strange thing. I know we're taking away their habitat, but we still need to bring.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we need to control them. You know.
I don't have problems with monkeys from me because I do a section for them.
Okay.
David wanted to say something.
This whole discussion, we can end up back in a circle. We can end up doing an agriculture discussion today. Because you gotta be careful.
We still have.
You still have. I can tell you this. When we talk about food and we talk about monkeys, there are other things that make it difficult for us to feed ourselves, and we have to make it friendly. We have to make it affordable. The inputs, the things this whole thing is a big thing because farmers, when they grow their stuff, there's pests. There's the monkeys and the other thing. You see predial larceny.
Yes,
that's a serious thing in Barbados. My mother's 84 years old. Right. So my mother's 84 years. I don't want to call you around. And she does gardening. That's what keeps her alive, in my opinion. She had a bed of chives. And a gentleman walking to my mother carrying the whole bed of chives. And he had come and he said, look, Mums, I want some chives to plant. I went and plant them about a quarter mile away in another garden. And my mother knows about it. I know about it. But, you know, as a decent citizen, I would pray for him and hope that he would find a better way to do business. But that is a problem in this society where you're growing your stuff, you're dealing with fertilization, you're dealing with water, you're dealing with pests, you're dealing with all kinds of different issues. And by the time you bring that crop to market, somebody comes in like before, and you go and you see it just bare land. And that by itself can create mental health issues in farmers. So when we talk mental health, the farmers suffer seriously their mental health is under serious challenge when it comes to trying to produce food. Sometimes you put a lot of money into these things and come up with zero.
Yeah.
There's no insurance. There ain't nothing. There's no insurance ain't insuring the garden because they're gonna say, well, the risk is too high. Right. So the farmers, we need to do something as far as food security in Barbados is concerned.
Yeah.
We have no other choice. The Barbados their parties will not do it. We have as a party that cares, we have to save agriculture and Barbados will save of food security. We have no other choice. Because right now, as it is, if with the situation in Venezuela and that escalates, we are going to smell hell to eat in Barbados.
Marva Hunt was telling us the prices of things. She said golden apples are $3.50 a pound. You laugh, Paul, because you never bought a golden apple. I never bought a golden apple in my life. We have a smaller population now, and we used to just walk around pick golden apples. We are planting fruit trees in Barbados. Do we have the space for fruit trees? If we do, why are we planting fruit trees?
A million fruit trees.
A million trees. They said
A million trees.
Yeah, but not fruit
But
trees.
they didn't have the sense to plant fruit trees.
Yeah. If we are buying golden apples at $3.50 a pound, shouldn't we be planting fruit trees?
Oh yeah.
I think we have the space, Paul, don't we?
I think so. I mean, we need. I mean, apart from the monkeys, but we need to be. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I am supporting as the shadow spokesman for environment. I do endorse the planting of 1 million trees.
Yes.
Fruit trees, though.
Fruit trees. All trees, but specifically, I would say the 70-30.
70-30.
So 70% fruit trees, and then the others decorative and so on. Yeah. But it must be that every garden, every backyard, every space, growing up, I mean, I would eat tamarinds.
Oh yeah.
Guavas. You will see buttermilk guava trees. This is coming up to December. You get a lot of dunks, and they're now getting these very big dunks and so on.
The blossoms are on.
The blossoms are on the trees now. But I mean, planting soursop. You mentioned Christophine. Recently I've been eating a lot of lettuce. I don't know why. I think it's one of the cheapest things in the supermarket. $4 for a bag. I did at Carlton. You go on, but I've been consuming a lot of lettuce.
What about spinach? Spinach is
yes. You use spinach, rice, and so on. And well, I don't do kale, but
rice. If I had it, love spinach.
Love spinach.
Yeah,
It's lovely.
spinach or white rice.
But we need to be really planting fruit trees, spinach trees. Spinach vines.
Yeah. That's Spinach tree.
So, but it has to be an initiative driven and a campaign completely around after AgroFest. You see people buying little saplings and seedlings and so on and planting them. And this is an initiative that the Democratic Labour Party believes in. I remember speaking to Hazy Ben, and he said to me, Paul, I remember Tom Adams called me in his office one day and said to me, how do we eliminate food and just import all our food? Right? And he said, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. Because farmers depend on this for their livelihood.
Yes.
You can manage the quality of the food. The Democratic Party is responsible for starting all the chicken association, the pork association, all the associations associated with agriculture was started by the Democratic Party. Yeah, so we believe in it. We don't just talk about it.
We don't want to sound as if we are obsessed with government spending, but we have to be concerned about it.
Oh yeah,
and about government spending priorities there.
Yeah.
So that if we become a government and we remove a lot of the spending, certainly the travel and so on, and the other luxuries, and start to subsidize farmers.
Yes, we need to do that. We need to do things to subsidize the food bill in Barbados.
Yes.
And
for the sake of health.
For the sake of health.
Yes.
And even if we find a creative way of doing that, yesterday I sat in the Senate, and I believe that Senator Cummins thought that she was giving that information to give Barbadians the impression that it is expensive.
But when you're talking about $5 million for maternity benefits for an entire year and $6 million for maternity benefits for an entire year,
Times two.
that is a drop in the
How much was
bucket.
spent on Carrie Fester?
Exactly.
50 million.
Right, and
Gathering.
the way how I listen to it, right? Once it is something to deal with the average Barbadian, it's an expense.
Yeah.
And it is too expensive to do.
Precisely.
But if it is to deal with a foreigner, it can be afforded. They can afford it. And you don't worry about the cost. But going in a situation like that, that is a drop in the bucket. There's a $9 billion.
$5 million.
Yeah, there's a $9 billion
And then
economy.
times two. That would just get the amount from meals.
Right, so $12 million. So my
$5 million over a year.
over a year. So, and even if you add the paternity leave, it wouldn't go to $12 million. But going back to your point, the government needs to open its coffers and start to put money in places to help reduce the cost of living in terms of food for Barbadians.
Yes.
No one should be paying $30 for a chicken.
No.
And you need a chicken on your table every single Sunday.
Yeah.
No one should be paying $9 and $8
Potatoes.
I talking about fish because they don't eat chicken. So I got to represent what I eat for a pound of fish. Those are the prices. So you need to see all the boats still there. When you check the car park, some of the boats are still there from Barrow last year, July gone. More than a year now. So a lot of the fishermen are not back on the water. So as a result of that, the price of the fish has gone up. Right? And the government can do better. Remember that we had a program where we were supposed to subsidize the farm gate cost of milk to make milk cheaper for so that instead of you buying the sweet drinks, you would encourage more children to drink milk. Because remember, you had the milk program within the school, and to use milk as that beverage as a result of the sweet drink. Now, the milk in the supermarket is more than $6, sometimes $9 a carton. And you have been bringing in some imported milk, which I have stopped buying because I recognize that by the time I get to the end of the carton of milk, it is spoiled. So I've started back buying the local milk in the small containers. In the small containers. Because when you buy the imported one in these larger containers, even though it might be like $6 or something like that, but it spoils before you get to use all of it. But the government needs to subsidize food in Barbados in a more open and transparent way. Give the farmers subsidies so that you can reduce the cost of food. Because I do agree, the cost of living in Barbados, I said to myself, look, do not expect sweet potatoes to come back down. The price of sweet potatoes to come back down because the farmer still has to live.
Yeah.
Right? But
Subsidies.
you need to do some subsidies so that if the price of the sweet potatoes to come down, something is given to help the farmers to bring that down. Because Barbadians need to be eating healthier.
Well, we have to eat, and then we should eat healthy.
You have to eat, or you should eat healthier. And you cannot continue to run to one place because that's the cheapest place that you can get something to eat in Barbados. But it is not the healthiest because they don't look at the amount of salt that you're putting in. It is not a balanced diet, and it is filled with a lot of things that you should not really be eating. So we need to do better.
Andre, you mentioned fish. Derek, credit to you. Let's do some politicking. I was at a funeral at St. Mark's and St. John this week, Tuesday, and a fisherman came up and said thanks to us for helping him to get his money. He's a fisherman, and he was at the funeral. Let us pause and express condolences to the Brathwaite family of Collie Savannah. I know you miss your mom and so on. We're very, very sorry. But that fisherman came and said, thanks to us. And you were at the center of that, Derek, pushing the case for the fishermen. And I think in some cases they got $9,000. And we were agitated. We had 2 press conferences here. This room was filled with fisher folk. We're still going to agitate for the fish vendors, though. They paid them only $1,500, and we want them compensated. So let the government understand that we are still pressing the case for the fish vendors. And we lost one of them, who was here at the forefront of our battle and she
St.
died a
Philip.
few months
St.
ago from St. Philip.
Mhm.
I'm trying to remember
But
the name now.
the other thing is that only this week, the market didn't have ice.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to
Okay.
raise that. Mhm. There's
So
there's a big
look,
issue with ice.
Paul, it's a question of disrespect.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, why should people
too
in that
expensive.
industry
Yeah. Yeah.
find
yeah.
that something that they need in the
It's fundamental to
Fundamental.
a fisherman.
and every couple of weeks,
Yeah.
no ice, and they
You could build a new building for Carifta,
for
for a Cresta.
that wooden thing in Newton.
Yeah, that's
We're
important.
going to talk about it all
But
the
these
time.
are these
We're
are
going to talk about it all the
yes, yes. I
time. The
appreciate
government
that.
has to stop.
I got a
misacting.
fisherman called me and asked me about this week again. He said, "Listen, we don't have any ice machines.
Happens
Where's
in
the
Austin's
ice?"
a lot too.
Yes,
Mm.
you know.
As if you can't
You know,
forget.
yeah.
What could be so difficult to have somebody visit the ice machine,
Precisely.
servicing them,
Precisely.
making sure they work, changing the parts. How that gets
Well, the
I don't
government
know.
behaves as if they're doing him a favor.
And you fix it. No, but you fix it. You fix it.
Precisely.
No, but you reach a stage where you have to replace it. But I guess that the thing is when it comes to
Local small people.
small people,
They don't
it
respect
becomes too expensive.
Precisely.
Should I make a suggestion?
Yes. Yes.
They got some free buses from the Chinese.
Mhm.
Tell them send a fleet of ice machines.
Well, good one, good idea.
Yeah.
You see, that's how we govern. That's how the Democratic Labour Party governs. We get it done. You see, and this is the problem with this particular government. We are about solutions. We are about making sure that the fishermen get their ice machines, right? And when the hurricanes are coming, we go and lift the boats out of the careenage and put them on so that when the hurricane pass, they have their boats available. They left the boats in there and they got all mashed up. But that's a whole different topic. But Ralph, I realized that this topic about food
Mhm.
well,
Related to health.
and health
Mhm.
specifically brings me right back to the critical issue of non-communicable diseases
Mhm.
Yes.
and our polyclinics.
Yeah.
And one of the things that is happening with poor food is the low protein and so on. There is a lot of damage to your kidneys, to your heart, to your vessels, and so on,
Mhm.
resulting in a lot of vascular damage and
Right,
loss of
right.
amputations and so on. Which leads me to an issue that is happening in Barbados right now with our
Well, read
polyclinics.
Alvin Babbitt.
Yeah,
Yeah. Alvin is saying.
I was
as we
saying, as we
discussed-
discuss the health situation in Barbados, what is the current state of the hospital and services at the polyclinic?
You
Perfect.
tell us, Paul.
I didn't realize that it was,
Yeah.
it was about that.
Thanks, Alvin.
Thanks, Alan. But I find that we are lacking nurses in Barbados. We do not have enough nurses.
Met one at your meeting on Sunday night.
There you go. She's a beautiful lady.
Oh man. She
Oh,
told me
yeah.
so much. Don't call the name.
No, I don't call her
She
name.
told us so much about the state of the hospital.
Yes, it's horrible. I remember when the president of Barbados, Mr. Bossett, was Minister of Health.
She's not president yet.
Well, to be, soon to be,
President.
president waiting. He was considering opening, telling Barbados, we're going to open 2 polyclinics.
Yes.
We're going to have 2
yes,
polyclinics.
yes, yes.
And I called him. I
Promised
said,
24 hours.
it was 24 hours. And I called him. I said, Minister, what you're doing is a noble thing.
Mhm.
But I am asking you to consider this. And I was it was a shadow in health back then. I said to him, I'm asking you to consider this. We do not have enough nurses
Mhm.
to run a 24-hour facility.
Mhm.
Sir, I will humbly ask you to just open one for now because we can't. And he said, thank you. And this is why I have respect for the man. He says, Paul, thank you. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
And he opened one because he knew that it would have been a death knell,
Mhm.
that they would not be able to sustain the St. John 24 hours
Right,
if he had done
right.
that.
Mhm.
And so, and this is where now we talk about bringing people from Suriname and Belize and so on and so forth. What we need to do is say to those people, if you're interested in nursing,
Mhm.
we are interested in you.
Mhm.
And begin to buffer and to build up our nursing capacity and stuff.
Right. Right.
As though that is something that we should be looking at.
Yes.
Yeah. Finding professions that would add value to us to sustain.
Precisely.
So
Precisely.
Barbados is built on education
And
and
health.
health.
Yes. Yeah.
And our health is sinking.
Yes.
And the nurses,
Education too.
yeah, they're
We're
not.
gonna do a separate.
Oh yeah. There are not enough nurses. So any hospital setting or polyclinic that is running needs to make sure that they buff, they buttress the healthcare facilities with strong nurses, because things like dressing clinics for wounds, which if you get a good dressing clinic, you decrease amputations. Clinics for diabetic clinics. If you have diabetic clinics and people are managing the diabetes, using their glucometers, testing the sugar. If you have clinics where people can have conversations with the prostate, which is a big thing for men. A lot of men in Barbados right now are facing prostate issues. Not only are the PSAs high, but they're actually having a lot of carcinoma, oncological issues, and so on. So the polyclinic setting is where you first capture these pathologies. You catch it. It's called primary care. It's where your primary health occurs. Then there's secondary health, and then there's the tertiary healthcare facility, which is the QEH. What is happening in 2025 is that everybody is going to the QEH, and it is overloaded. So we can decompress the QEH by making sure that all of our polyclinic systems are functioning properly and optimally in Barbados.
I want to come to our spokesperson. I'll come to you just now, David. You have a shopping list of a lot of the problems. We must tell the public.
Okay. Right. And yes, a lot of what Paul said just now is true, but what we did before, it helps to paint a picture as to why we are here with this healthcare problem. We looked at the poor diet, we look at people not getting adequate exercise, and we look at stress. And we also look at the cost of living. So people are not going to their doctors as often as they would before. So they're not getting those visits. And that's why you are seeing so many people turning up at the QEH accident and emergency. And I hate to hear the notice, do not come to accident and emergency because it is overburdened. Where else are they supposed to go? Right now, I can classify problems within the healthcare sector into three categories: low staff morale, management issues, and lack of resources. And all of them are tied up and go back to the low staff morale. Now, you have the issue with the nurses. Now, I believe that Barbados should put itself in a situation where we can qualify enough nurses to fill, even if they don't choose to work here and they go off else places, because for years Barbadian nurses have worked in hospitals in the UK, Canada, and the United States. But we have a system where we are forcing our nurses to take a regional exam, which nobody else does. And we're bringing in other people to work who do not have to take that same exam. What we can do is to make it better, more accessible for persons to get into nursing, and even the auxiliary nurses, and then provide an opportunity for them to train and go up, because nursing is a profession that will always be needed and demand, and is export. You can export it. And as a result of that, you have low morale, because our nurses are overworked. Because we are bringing nurses from overseas.
Low morale and low pay.
Exactly. They're overworked. We're bringing nurses from overseas that we do not know about their qualifications. Some of them come telling you that they're registered nurses, and then when you check, they're really auxiliary nurses. And the nurses here in Barbados now have to supervise them in addition to doing what they're supposed to be doing. But they're getting more money than the nurses here in Barbados. So that will lead to conflict.
Is that
it is true.
They receive
their pay is higher than the local nurses. So you cannot blame a local nurse in Barbados for picking up an opportunity to work in Bermuda, Cayman Island, the US, or the UK to leave in frustration. Because if your country does not value you, why not go someplace else where you can make $1 for your qualifications? You're bringing people with lesser qualifications, the lesser training and experience, and you're paying them more than what you are getting. Then you have the management issues. Now remember that situation at the geriatric hospital a couple of weeks ago, which is possibly still ongoing, where because nurses spoke out in the interest of the patients, that you have the management wanting to transfer these nurses to far-flung clinics, the St. Lucie District Hospital, the St. Philip District Hospital, which will be inconvenient for a lot of them. That is not a way to deal with a problem.
No.
That highlights that there is a management crisis and no one in the Ministry of Health is dealing with it, because you do not hear neither of the two ministers of health, the junior minister or the senior minister. You only hear them when it is a national health day or program which they need to speak on, but they do not address the management issues or the policy issues within the Ministry of Health, and that is where you're facing these problems. I would love to hear Jerome Walker come and speak to these issues, the geriatric hospital, because that was a management and a policy issue. It should have been dealt with at that level. And those nurses should not be victimized because they spoke out. You need to adequate training for the managers, and it's the same problem at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Right now at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, you have the linear accelerator, which is used for radiation therapy for cancer patients, which has been out of commission for over a year.
Andre, tell us the name of the machine again.
Linear accelerator.
Linear accelerator.
Yes.
And it's a machine that treats cancer patients.
Right, with radiation therapy.
Right.
Normally, when you have cancer, the two route for treatment would be either chemotherapy or radiation, right? So that machine has not been working for over a year.
So it is compromising cancer patients.
It is.
Who cannot afford to go overseas.
Who cannot afford, because you need to have it as a regular part of your treatment. So now they will probably be getting only chemotherapy. And if it's a really aggressive cancer, they cannot benefit from having the radiation therapy.
So the machine is not working?
It's not a new machine was a new machine was commissioned. The old machine was burning patients. So they had to get a new machine.
So the new machine.
The new machine is here, and they have been working on the structure, the substructure to fit the machine, because it has to be, with medical equipment, it has to be very precise in terms of the room that you put it in, how level it is, the space, and all of those things. You want to tell me that you could not have done these things beforehand?
So that treatment has been unavailable for how long? A year?
Over a year.
Over a year.
Yeah, they have promised that it would restart in July. It has not restarted in July. For over a year, that machine has been
You don't want to get morbid, but people have died in the interim.
Well, if you're not getting therapy,
aggressive
therapy, and for example, some of the prostate. I mean, we have some ocular and senile cancers in the prostate that are very aggressive, and because they can't get therapy, they die. One of the things I do, apart from being a practicing pharmacist, I airlift people for catastrophic injuries and different cancer therapies and so on to Colombia, Miami, and this kind of thing. And I can tell you, over the last 2 years, because of not having a PET scan machine as well, which is another thing I can't figure out why we don't have one, that tells you where your cancer is.
We don't have that machine.
We don't have that machine. Yeah, you have to go to Trinidad or Miami or Colombia to get it. So you can
idea as to the price of that machine.
It's not even $1 million. It's not $500,000. It's less than
let's
that.
go back to Newton. How much you spend at Newton?
At Newton and Carifest.
And regathering.
And regathering.
These people's priorities.
Right. You know, at $50 million overrun for hope. We can afford these things.
We can. So the public needs to hear
that. Yeah, we can afford these things.
Money has been there.
Yes.
But it is being spent on.
But it is spent on a vaccine scandal. You know?
Yeah.
The thing is that because of the lack of certain services, what happens is that we have some good doctors. And when they have hit their level, when they hit here and the technology cannot help the patients,
what do they do?
You have to send them outside of Barbados. And so we've been sending patients to different places. It's been very expensive for some of them.
Yes.
The government only has $1 million assigned a year for Barbadians to go overseas. That's what the budget is. $1 million, and they burn through that sometimes by the first quarter.
You know, Paul,
First quarter,
exactly.
yeah.
But
First quarter,
you know, Paul, because we were at a stage where we were developing specialties in a number of these areas so that
Correct.
we would not have to send persons overseas. But no, because of poor management at the hospital, a lot of the consultants are leaving.
Yes.
A lot of the junior doctors come, they get the training, and they're not staying to specialize. Right now,
Leaving and going overseas, you mean? Or
all going into
greener pastures.
private practice. Right now at the hospital, dialysis patients. A lot of time, a lot of dialysis patients spend time in the hospital because they're waiting to get the
ports, yeah, the
catheters.
Yes.
Right. So as long as you need dialysis and you have the temporary catheter, you have to remain in the hospital.
Yes.
So some people actually stay in the hospital for over 3 months, just waiting for that operation to get the permanent catheter
or the fistula.
Right. And the best form of treatment is the fistula, but you don't have enough vascular
surgeons to do
that procedure.
Yes. Dr. Jones and Dr. O'Kelly Ward are the two persons that do that, and they are overwhelmed. I mean, they have a lot of work.
Right.
You know,
so we are not able to so we have HR problems within our hospital, within our healthcare sector, because they're not able to retain the specialists. A lot of young surgeons, they're just getting the training. They cannot put up with the inefficiencies within the hospital setting, because it's not just working with square pegs and round holes, but you can imagine a frustrating situation where you don't have the equipment you're supposed to use. You come today, working tomorrow, it broken down, and then it wouldn't be fixed for another 3 weeks or so. All of these are things that are frustrating people. Remember that in Barbados, we still have people who have been waiting for. If you go to the hospital now, and your doctor tells you that you need a CAT scan or MRI, unless you can afford to pay for it privately, your waiting list could be 3 to 6 months.
That's right.
And there's some people who are waiting for over a year to have certain surgeries done. A year, yes. Simple things as hernia. Right, that you're waiting for over a year, so you can't do anything.
It gets a bit worse. We had in 2025 a situation where the hematology department of the QEH was eviscerated. There were no hematologists working at the QEH for
These problems existed
I mean,
before.
not under the government. I tell you, not under the government.
The hospital seems to be in the news all the time. In terms of
But hematology,
collapse.
it is you could have people dying like this, and I mean, because the therapy is very specific, it's very calculated. It is a highly specialized area. You cannot not have hematologists in a hospital. What's that? What is that? And this is one of the faults that I would say happened at QEHs here. That to me was an atrocity, to say the least. I think that, but we will never know how many Barbadians were compromised. We will never know the story.
Compromised and died.
We will never know.
You never know.
And then, as Derek would have mentioned earlier, you have the issue of the drugs as well, the medication. Especially for elderly patients, they do not like to have to change medication, because if you were taking a white pill and it now changed to a yellow pill, they think that they took the wrong medication. But you have constant changes in the brand of the medication, and sometimes they're out of stock for a long period of time.
That's the issue.
So have a number of situations where persons have to pay privately to get certain tests done. Remember that we were told on a previous DLP TV show about pregnant women having to pay to get ultrasounds, which should never be happening, because you need to have an ultrasound as a regular course of your pregnancy to make sure that everything is correct with the fetus.
Fundamental.
Right? So you should not have to be doing that. Some money was put into the budget to outfit the polyclinics with ultrasounds. This was since April. Have any of the polyclinics in Barbados received those ultrasound machines, or pregnant women still being sent to private facilities to get an ultrasound. All of these things we need to take care of, and that's why there's so many challenges. The bed issues at the hospital. Accident and emergency will always have issues because you cannot get the persons onto the wards because there are not enough beds. What should have been done with Harrison's Point, instead of it being rented out to bring in laborers for a construction company or for storage for a construction company, it should have been. Well, it was already outfitted.
Yes, it was.
It should have been maintained.
The government borrowed $120 million from the Europeans to build the hospital down there.
For COVID, to outfit it for COVID.
And it is now housing migrant labor.
Migrant labor
Where the
are
$120
storing.
million going?
Huh?
Where has the 120 million that we gonna have to repay?
That we probably
The
still
people of
repaying
Barbados
it.
have to repay.
And Paul would probably be able to tell you with medical equipment, once you move it and it is not being used, when you go back, yes, when you go back to it, it's probably not going to be any use to you. So should have maintained that facility, because what is needed in Barbados in terms of the healthcare profile, persons are coming to accident and emergency with more acute cases. They need to be monitored and observed for a longer period of time. So you have either very high blood pressures, very high blood sugars, cholesterol levels
to the roof,
all of those things.
Maxine is asking you what happened to the equipment, Andre.
Yeah, the equipment they did say will be taken out and put into storage.
Okay.
They did say that.
Okay.
But we don't know of the viability of the equipment once it comes out of that storage. Where is it being stored? How is it being stored? Right? But the point is, you had a facility there that could be used to take some of the pressure off of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, the accident and emergency, so that the cases that needed long-term monitoring before you can assign them to a ward, you shift them to Harrison's Point, so that you can keep a manageable flow within the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, and you have first dedicated staff at Harrison's Point to monitor them, and then once you get the situation under control, you can then transfer them to the ward at the hospital for the care of the particular specialist.
Yes, I want to add to that. If you don't mind.
Before you go, Paul, I want Andre to read Mayfield Doffin. This is interesting.
And my daughter's sitting down at home with a master's degree in biomedical science, specializing in hematology, and can't get a job, which is very true.
My goodness, that's so sad.
We come to you, Paul.
Yeah, you know, I keeping with the theme that Andre is purporting. This government spent millions of dollars expanding the accident and emergency department. They made the place bigger, but the mouth of the hospital remained the same size. What do I mean? The accident emergency, we're seeing, let's say 100 people. They open it to see 200 people, and it's a newer facility and everything. But the issue is that the bedboard management issue is what is causing the problem. You cannot get people out of any through the dirty space. It's the same. There are no beds to put people in. And so this is why you have people coming. You have old people. I mentioned that the geriatric hospital, they're going to move the people from the QEH and put them into the geriatric hospital. That's about 50, right? And that would probably, for a while, we will see a smoother flow out of the A&E department. But we're going to have a zero-sum game again, because those beds will become filled, and there'll be nowhere to put patients. So with the advent of a geriatric hospital, we will get some shift, but the problem will remain the same if we don't look at expanding our bed capacity and doing better bedboard management, which is how long does a patient stay on a bed before you move them out? And that is one of the problems. Some consultants know how long a patient should stay, 3 days, 4 days, or whatever. But you have people in there for weeks sometimes, right? The ICU department, I mean, if I get sick at the QA, send me to the ICU, intensive care. That's what I want. And that's what everybody Barbadian should be getting. That's what they should.
Yes.
But no, everyone can't go to intensive care. So they will have to go to get acute care. And unfortunately, the services and the facilities are not always available in those spaces.
I think we also
yes.
need a little bit of accountability in healthcare in Barbados, because remember that we are paying a 2.5% health service levy collected by national insurance.
82 million?
Where is that money going?
Yeah.
Because with all of the issues in healthcare in Barbados, and you're now collecting since 2018 a health service levy, you should not have all of these shortages with medication, with equipment, linen.
Yeah.
You had the geriatric hospital that did not have a working laundry, which is one of the reasons
That a major
major issue, and their laundry had to be done at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital to deal with the scabies.
Right.
All of these things should not be happening, and I am tired of seeing people across Barbados GoFundMe's to get health care for children. No, there was these are things that are caring government, especially if the child needs to go overseas for that treatment, or the test costs $12,000 just to do a test to see if a family member could be a donor or a match. These are things that our government should fund.
Yes.
Because no one has $12,000, the average person lying down, or $20,000 access to that.
Yeah.
And you are collecting a health service levy, and you find it difficult to do these things, and you want to make it seem as though $5 million in maternity leave is a big amount for our government to be spending. This is ridiculous.
More than that in regathering.
Yes.
Gentlemen, you have been extremely interesting. I did not even get halfway down my first page on talking points. We have to come back because we did not get to NIS. I wanted to discuss the NIS scheme, what White Oak did to the NIS scheme in terms of the 1.2 billion write-off. That is a crisis in Barbados. We have not been paying a lot of attention to it. But I want you to make some final comments as to the state of public health in Barbados. Derek, I'll come to you first.
Okay.
State of public health.
I think we are accustomed to complaints about hospital and health in Barbados. We always find a complaint about our health system. But the amount of challenges that have been confronting Barbadians to access minimal care have gone up the roof. To blame this government is to repeat itself every minute. You know, we agriculture last week. Every week we come here and find an issue. But health is too critical.
Yes.
Right. And as our people are getting older, going to the hospital is a challenge. Some people don't want to go, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Some people want, don't take me to the QAH. That should never be said about our hospital. I think that the government needs to do something, or let's get another government that is willing to do what the people need.
Correct.
Yes.
David, final comment. State of public health in Barbados.
I don't understand why Barbadians don't realize that the government don't care about us, because you got a situation in the hospital where you're not getting the care that you're paying for. It comes straight up your salary. Before you spend a cent, the government already got 2.5% taken out. Now, the situation there that we haven't spoken about yet, language barrier. You bring nurses in here who can't speak English. And I had this discussion with one of my constituents who happened to be a nurse. And she's overworked because even though she have other nurses working with her, she has to be the main person there because they're not speaking the language. I don't understand what kind of government would bring people to take care of us who can't communicate with us.
Interesting.
This is crazy.
Interesting.
I mean, how much more do they have to do to prove to us that they don't care about us?
Paul?
I want
State
to
of public health in Barbados.
public health. I want to thank the nurses. I want to thank the doctors, the pharmacists, the medical technologists, microbiologists, and all the persons that have been holding the healthcare system in place.
Yes.
I want to say to them that help is on the way. The Democratic Labour Party is aware of what needs to be done in this country. And we are going to we have a plan for the healthcare system in Barbados that will put it back on course.
Yes.
Where the health of the geriatrics, the pediatrics, and all Barbadians will be taken seriously, and that the resources will be provided to ensure that Barbados remain healthy.
Yes.
A healthy society,
yes.
Because that is what brought us this far with some of the oldest people in the world. And we want to make sure that we keep that flag flying high.
Excellent.
We're on the way. Help is on the way.
Thank you. And
Yes.
we'll end with our spokesperson on health, Andre.
Right. Well, definitely we have to continue this discussion. We did not even touch environmental health.
That's right.
Which
That's right.
is the
That's
health
right.
inspectors, and the major complaint that you get when you go through communities, the rodents, the mosquitoes, you don't see the environmental health officers because this government is not replenishing the environmental health officers. So we need to look into that as well. And now with the increase in the rain, you may possibly have dengue cases coming up, and always you need to deal with the rodents and stuff like that. But definitely there's some major issues in healthcare in Barbados. The two ministers, waste of time, can't the prime minister deal with them in terms, but I don't know that she has the clout to fire them, because if she fire them, she should really fire herself as well.
There's nobody else.
And there's no accountability in Barbados as to where the money is going. So we definitely need to do better for the people of Barbados.
Thank you. Our spot meeting program continues on Sunday. Where are we on Sunday? In Christchurch by Buffy
H. Marlow.
H. Marlow, Silver Sands. Anyhow, everybody in Christchurch knows Buffy's shop. That's where we are on Sunday. We are bringing our meetings to the people, literally to your doorstep. We've had excellent meetings, Andre. Paul, you hosted a very, very good meeting on Sunday,
Thank you.
Raymond's Village, the Sunday before. Where were we? We were in
Factory Avenue.
Factory Avenue.
Yeah, Redmond's,
Excellent,
yeah.
excellent. We are taking the meetings to the people of Barbados. Yours was the one at Bush Hall.
Bush Hall. And then before that, we went to
Howard
Howard Supermarket. And then before that, we went to St. Philip.
In St. Philip. So this Sunday, this is Amoy. Amoy is our candidate in Christchurch East. Buffy's Bar. That's the name of the bar, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buffy's Bar.
H.
Here by
Marlow.
Buffy's Bar. H. Marlow.
Melissa
Sunday at
Howard.
5:30.
5:30. Starts
5:30.
Yeah.
Melissa speaking too.
Melissa is speaking. Melissa Howard.
Corey Greenwich.
No,
No,
Andrew,
he's
Andrew
on
Cave.
Andrew
Cave.
Cave, sorry.
Who else is on?
Stop going there, Ralph.
We should know
Ralph.
these names. Yeah, they might be.
We
We
should
should
do
do John,
John.
our spokesperson on education. Andrew, you're not there on Sunday?
No, I'm not on the list for Sunday.
You're not on the list for
There's
Sunday.
a
Why not?
Christchurch meeting.
Anyhow, I understand Minister Abrams is sending out people to record us. Come. We're not afraid. We're going there to tell the truth on Sunday. We've had a good program. We're going to come back next week, Tuesday, as usual. But see you on Sunday. It's for the public. There's spot meetings. But we're coming to you in Christchurch on Sunday, and we're going to deal with the truth. We're not coming there to tell any lies on anybody. We're not coming there to defame anybody. So join us then. Thanks. Have a good night. God bless. And God bless you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you so much.